AI is here. Let's reveal the secrets. Hello to all our viewers. Welcome to AI is Here, where we use AI to understand the future. I'm your host, Wanda Yunyu. Sitting next to me is international AI expert Davy Wang. Hello, Davy.
Hello.
Davy, why don't you say hi to our audience?
Hi everyone, I'm Davy Wang.
So, Davy, what exactly is the bottleneck for today's large AI models?
Well, actually, lately there's been a lot of heated discussion about this. People are wondering if AI development has hit a certain bottleneck, or if there are some constraints. Some people say it's electricity, others say it's graphics cards. But actually, I have a different perspective. It's about data. Because when it comes to training data, there's an insider saying, garbage in, garbage out. In other words, if you feed large amounts of data into the system, but that data is dirty or unreasonable, then the results you get will definitely be unreasonable too. So up to now, we've seen that OpenAI and Google have pretty much trained on all the data available in the world. So going forward, if we want to further optimize these models, data actually becomes an even more important area that we need to focus on.
So, do you think the size of these models will keep getting bigger?
Everyone's talking about it. Just a while ago, people were saying, I have 70B, 100B, or even 650B. As these models grow with more parameters, their complexity rises and efficiency drops. So, from what I see, one direction of development is that while people are still working on large models, they definitely won't keep getting bigger indefinitely. Once they reach a certain scale, the focus will shift toward improving accuracy. On the other hand, we're actually seeing a boom in the development of many small and medium-sized models. These models don't require such expensive hardware. Sometimes your phone alone is enough. At the same time, these models also have a certain level of specialization and accuracy, ensuring that we can get the best answers in specific professional fields. So, in the future, development will head in two directions, one toward large and comprehensive models, and the other toward small but highly specialized ones.
A lot of people say that AI has a certain degree of hallucination issues. Do you think this hallucination problem can ever be solved?
Uh, Theoretically and fundamentally, hallucinations will always exist. This is because of the algorithms behind our models and, well, the probabilistic nature within them. So, the conclusion is that hallucinations will always be present. However, we can use many methods to reduce these hallucinations.
So, on another note, what do you think is the biggest risk associated with AI?
The biggest risk with AI, honestly, is that I've never worried about AI developing its own thoughts or having its own opinions. What concerns me is that AI will make the imbalance in the world even worse. People who know how to use AI will become stronger and stronger, while those who don't will become weaker and weaker. It's just like many years ago when we first invented machines back then, traditional farmers would plow their fields entirely by hand. But after mechanization, efficiency increased many times over. The people who benefited during this process were those who mastered the machines, who knew how to use and repair them. So actually, history tends to repeat itself in similar ways. In the age of AI, this kind of imbalance is actually becoming even more pronounced. If you don't use AI or learn about AI, you'll quickly be left behind by this era.
Given that, do you think the government needs to set stricter regulations for AI?
Actually, if we look back, every new technology has always required corresponding government oversight to go along with it. But a lot of the time, technology develops much faster, while regulatory measures tend to lag behind. However, we can't abandon regulation just because technology is advancing quickly. In fact, we've already seen many incidents in the AI field that violate laws and ethics. So, I believe that whether it's from a technological standpoint or from the perspective of national regulation, there will definitely be a rapid response.
Yeah, I've noticed that nowadays a lot of people are even using AI, like ChatGPT, to ask about their own health issues and how they should be treated. If something goes wrong, who should be held responsible for that?
At the moment, this area is still a blank spot. So, everyone really needs to treat the responses from ChatGPT and other OpenAI tools with caution and seriousness. I don't know if you've noticed, but almost every chat tool now has a disclaimer at the bottom saying they won't take any responsibility for the answers, and that you still need to consult the appropriate professionals for proper judgment.
On the other hand, do you think AI can truly and genuinely understand emotions?
Actually, it can't. Going back to what I just said, maybe it has collected every love letter in the world and can write the most beautiful sentences to move you. But these are really just words pieced together based on probability. It can't truly understand human emotions. It doesn't know what happiness or sadness is. So, it actually can't empathize with humans.
Yeah, and also AI is generating more and more content these days. So, how do we tell what's made by humans and what's real?
Right? That reminds me of a really interesting example. Ever since we found out that AI can mimic voices and generate images of you, I thought of a pretty fascinating example. I have a friend whose mom, whenever she answers his calls, always asks him about something from his childhood to make sure it's really him calling and not an AI imitating his voice. Actually, this is a really important way for us to determine what's real. In other words, as AGI and AI generated content become more and more common, we still need to use other methods to verify AI's answers instead of just blindly trusting them.
So, if our international AI expert Davy could have an ideal AI partner, what qualities would it need to have?
Well, first of all, it has to understand me, so it needs to know all my previous information and experiences. Secondly, it should be my best helper. Actually, lately I've heard some friends say they think ChatGPT is an especially good assistant. Why is that? Because it's very, very patient. It can provide emotional support, and it never loses its temper or complains. So, in a way, this actually reflects everyone's hope for an ideal AI companion, that it has experience, can assess your abilities, and can give you the best advice based on your own experiences and unique circumstances.
Yeah, that's right. And in today's society, emotional support is really, really important. So, Davy, what do you think? So far, besides emotional support, what has been the biggest surprise AI has given you?
Another thing is that a lot of times it can give me a comprehensive, multifaceted perspective. Of course, this perspective isn't something it just comes up with on its own, but rather it draws from similar problems all over the world and then summarizes the best possible insights for me. For example, when I'm trying to write my business plan, it reminds me of the aspects I haven't considered yet. This has been a huge surprise for me. Of course, I understand that it's because it has access to so much knowledge and can use probability to figure out what I might have missed. But for me, this is truly a big surprise. The reason is that it really helps me think of a lot of things and truly gives me a lot of reminders. This is something that search engines, information retrieval tools, or even textbooks in the past could never provide me.
So, let's say it's 20 years from now and you look back at today's AI technology. How would you comment on it?
That's really interesting. If we look back 20 years from now, back then people thought that carrying a big cell phone or even watching videos on a phone was something completely unimaginable. So I think maybe 20 years from now, when we look back at today, we'll feel like AI was so basic back then, yet everyone was already so excited about it. It's kind of like how we now look at people 20 years ago carrying those big cell phones on the street, thinking that was the peak of technology. In fact, my daughter actually thinks that AI has always been around since she was born, that it just naturally exists from day one. She doesn't see it as something that evolved over time.
Yep.